Quick.
Purchase your track today.
It's on. It's on.
What's up, good people? What's up? It's your man LA Cheatham. Thanks for joining us on Watch the Game Sports. I'm
Did we freeze up? Did we freeze up? I- up.
okay. We back. Watch the Game Sports. Thanks for joining. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we back. Week 14 recap. Bears go to Lambeau and lose 28-21. Good, better, best is taking a rest. And it'll be back at Soldier Field possibly next week. Interesting things about that game we'll get into later on. But throwing pains, Penn. Throwing pains.
Yeah.
I believe this matchup between the Bears and Packers pretty much came down to the relationships and the longevity of each quarterback and coach. Getting into almost somewhat of what the title we had last week was Coaching Matters. That was big in this game. Caleb Williams had some big plays. Bears got better in the second half. But the first half looked like a lot of other Packer Bear games over history. What you got, Penn? What you got on this?
I know it's a lot of takeaways from the game. And I like to listen to local radio just to see what the fan base is saying, especially after a loss. Just to kind of see where everybody's head is. And general takeaways is the pass rush, but we kind of knew the pass rush was mediocre at best. Not being able to generate no pass rush, and Jordan Love being able to survey the field and have as much time as he did played a key factor into the outcome of the game. A lot of people was, and I was saying this during the game too. DA had to come up out of that man to man, but it was like he was damned if he do, damned if he don't. Because if he ain't tried blitz, he wouldn't get no pressure no other way. So he had to try to do something. And when you got Christian, what's his name, Watkins,
Yeah.
running, the speed, the burner that he is, he got 2 touchdowns on us yesterday. Just kind of going through the mental notes I had about the game. Especially I know everybody's talking about the ending. I was in the camp of I didn't like the play call because I thought they should have just ran the ball and got another new set of down, then took 4 cracks at the end zone. I was in that camp. I knew once that first play after the 2-minute warning was a run that they was gonna go for 2. If they they scored a touchdown, it was evident. I just didn't like the play call. I know a lot of people saying if Caleb let that thing go earlier, it's a touchdown. Yeah, but I think the way you was running the ball in the second half, and y'all had a 17-play drive before that to tie the game up, and they went down and scored again. That defense probably was a little winded. You was able to lean on them a little bit. Monunga was running hard. So I just thought they should have just ran the ball, got the first, and then took
another down.
Yeah, took 4 cracks at the end zone. So that was my big takeaways from it. Like your boy, we still got the bandwagon seat. We're still on the Bears train. We still got it. Shout out Will the Thrill. Shout out Will the Thrill. We holding it down. Like I'm on the aisle, he got the window, and then you in the middle. Just wait.
Well, this is my thing. I watched that game. It wasn't the quarterback play was on was the main attraction, as it always is in most NFL football games. But both of these teams, both of these coaches, Coach LaFleur and Jones, they like to run the football, and both both of them were a little effective running the football if you pick and choose spots, during the game. I think the Bears rushed the football 32 times for 138 yards. You had DeAndre Swift with 13 carries for 63 yards. Monangai ran hard 14 times for 57 yards. And then on the other side, you had Josh Jacobs running. He pretty much had the best day out of all the running backs, 20 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. And when you compare the quarterbacks, that's why I say this was a game of being familiar with offense and being familiar with the coach and with the expectations of what each coach expects from each quarterback, the relationship between Jordan Love and Coach Matt LaFleur. I think that was the edge in this game because both quarterbacks had a turnover. But this is my thing when it comes to Caleb. I'll get into it. Let me see. Jordan Love.
Caleb's turnover.
They both had turnovers, but
Yeah.
the timing of each turnover was
Played
the
a
thing I was going to get into. Okay, so here was Jordan Love was 17 of 25, 234 yards, three touchdowns and one interception. Caleb Williams 19 of 35, 186 yards, two touchdowns and one interception. When you get into the interceptions, they're both quarterbacks threw the timing of the interceptions. Whereas Jordan Love's interception probably settled him down. It came early in the game and it probably settled him down and it probably changed a little bit of the perspective of game planning that Coach LaFleur had as well, so that they can commit to the run game. But their first half, and you could probably get into the defensive scheme as we touched of the Bears. The first half, they just let two really big plays, just like bam, bam, and that's when I had the feeling that this is looking like your typical Green Bay Chicago matchup at Lambeau, where Green Bay they were playing good football, kind of since the Cowboy game, but everybody knew that they still had that stinker against Cleveland, so you knew they were capable of doing that, and that's kind of what I expected. But those two big touchdown passes, I believe one was to Melton, and the other one was to Watkins.
Yeah.
Those two touchdown passes kind of opened it up, and it kind of tested the toughness of the Bears and the mentality of the Bears going into the second half. Now, typically, as a Bear fan, you would be thinking, okay, here we go again. Here we go again. This is that typical Lambeau meltdown that you usually see. But to the Bears' credit, they were persistent and they just got back in the game. They found some things that was working in the run game. But like you said again, I'll let you touch on the defensive scheme of Chicago, but not a lot of pass rush on Jordan Love.
Yeah, and the sack that Montez Sweat did get, it wasn't because they got a rush. It was more so a coverage sack. The one time that coverage did hold up pretty much, and they was able to take advantage of that opportunity. Again, I know I am a Jalen Johnson critic. I get it, but I mean, what did he do yesterday? What I know Tom Brady called him out twice on the telecast. I think, and I was texting my boy Nate about it. He said the second one wasn't on Jalen, so I'm gonna just giving the benefit of the doubt on that one. I got to go back and see that play again, but um, you know, top, he got paid like the top tier corner in the league, and I heard somebody today say, why are we holding on to him? And even Waddle and Sylvie was like, yeah, he's probably not even a top 5 corner in the league, and that's my problem with him. Like, you paying him like top corner in the league money, and what does he do to change the game when you got Nashawn Wright on the other side, who leads the league in turnovers and takeaways? So, that's just my gripe on Jalen. I get off it
Well, this is my thing with Jalen. Um,
in them orange sleeves. Leave them
well, well, well,
alone.
I think that was a team thing. I don't think he was singling
Yeah,
himself out.
Byard,
Bayard had him.
he
Bayard
gets
and
all the time, but he makes
okay,
plays, so he can do something. Jalen Johnson
okay,
ain't the shit. So no,
okay. But this is my thing with Jalen. Should he even be on the field right now? Is my question. And then I got to bring up the fact that Kyler Gordon was ruled out, and just before kickoff, I
yeah,
guess he kind of re-injured himself, during the warm up, and he was ruled out before kickoff. And and then when you look at Jalen, I don't even think he's getting. He looks like he's on a snap count. And in a game like of this magnitude, you don't really want to play out there on a snap count. You want a guy out there that's ready to go all out on every possible opportunity. And not to say he's not, but if he's injured, I mean, come on, just don't put him out there. That's just my thing. Don't put him out there. And because he's only making himself look bad, and most and foremost, he's making the team look bad. He's hurting the defense. If he can't play at 100%, don't put him out there. I mean, and that's my take on Jalen being out there. And you wonder, even with Kyler Gordon, is this a situation where he may need to go on injury reserve and just shut it down for the season? And that's an unfortunate thing too. But considering um all of that, um the next man up situation that they were put in, I'm not sure who replaced who, but I mean, give those guys an opportunity to go out there and just play the game and live with what they give you. Because when you got two of your better guys either not available or one not 100%, it really doesn't make a difference. You don't have any difference makers out there, so you be best just go with the next man up mentality, and then at that point, the pressure's on Dennis Allen to call a good defense. But at least he knows what he has available to him in the personnel department. So I don't think that Jalen Johnson is 100%, and quite possibly need to be shut down for the season if he's not going to, if he's not going to be at 100% and he's going to hurt the defense. What's the use in having him out there? That's my whole thing.
the and I think we didn't have Tremaine Edmonds yesterday either, did we?
No Tremaine Edmonds, but at least you knew that going in.
Yeah. But
It'd be different to have Tremaine out there just half stepping, sort of like the way we may be criticizing Jalen Johnson for whatever reason. Just if you're not healthy, don't go out there. DJ, what is it? Edwards, was it? Did he?
yeah,
TJ Edwards.
yeah.
He returned back. I think this is his second game back. I don't know how much of an impact he had in the game, but I mean that defense is still trying to get back and get healthy outside of not having a pass rush and not really having a consistent pass rush. Montez Sweat has been better the last 3 weeks. He's gotten home once or twice, but they have to do better. I saw they had Booker out there, but Booker just looked cold. He just looked like he was just out there freezing cold. Like, that's what he looked like to me. Like, when are we gonna get off on the field and get back to the sidelines and get them close, get back in front of them them blower heaters. Because he just looked cold out there yesterday. He didn't look. I mean, he had some close rushes where he was just about almost getting there. Just not the same player that we've seen in the exhibition seasons over the past 2 seasons. So Booker, Still waiting to see him make a big impact on the other side of Montez Sweat with the pass rush. Grady Jarrett, I think he played okay yesterday, but and apparently not good enough. But it really came down to those big plays in the secondary. The one big play is that play before halftime, and then that one play where they were just like playing press coverage, and Watson just hit him like right over the middle and beat CJ doing that Gardner Johnson.
on that one.
And yeah, that was like, I mean, you could play Madden and you've seen that happen. Just if you could just see that about to happen. Like
Yeah.
we didn't know it would go for a touchdown, but that's the type of thing that would happen when you press up without a lot of help up in the secondary. So that's exactly what happened with that press coverage. I think they were blitzing on that down. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think they sent 7 on them. You know what?
Yeah,
That one
that's a bad spot. Yeah.
I wasn't that upset about that one because just trying to get pressure. And like you said, if you a Madden player, you ain't even got to be a professional one. Just an average Madden player. You can see that just on the leverage.
Yeah.
If he beat him to the inside and it was over with because he's not gonna have the angle for it.
Yeah.
I think the one that they hit over the top to Moulton, I think that's the one that bothered me the most because that was a deep developing route, a long developing route, and not able to get no pass rush on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. I mean, and who was that? Was that Byard that was right? No, that was Brisker, I think. He was
Brisket got beat on that play. I think Bayard got beat on another one.
Yeah.
Bayard got beat by Watson, was it? Because Watson had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I think Bayard got beat by Watson, and then Melton beat Brisker over the top. And they had on that play they had 6 defensive backs on the field. I remember exactly. They said it. They said the Bears and the dime. I think they were. I don't know what the package exactly, but they had 6 defensive backs on the field. So I'm saying, okay, there's no way in the hell they should be giving up a big play on this, but there it was.
Yeah.
Melton with the touchdown, right in back of Brisker, right over the fingertips of Brisker. So questionable, calls in the first half. They ended up coming back in the second half and playing a much better. Caleb Williams was settled down. The run game picked up quite a bit. Kyle Monunga ran really hard, set the tone, and so did DeAndre Swift. But a lot of criticism about the lack of targets for DJ Moore, and the targets that he did have, the bubble screens, and then what was that? What was that? Was that a sweep play they had with him coming across? They got ate up real quick.
It blew up. Yeah.
I mean, they keep drawing up plays, and you would think with Roma Dunze out that you want to get DJ out and up in space, not behind the line of scrimmage. But that's what they did. It seems like they're trying to develop more of a chemistry between yesterday. Anyway, it seemed like they were trying to get more of a chemistry between Burton and Caleb, and now they're being criticized on not getting DJ more targets, as he had 1 catch for 4 yards, 1 catch for -4 yards.
Yeah.
And
it was,
and that's a heavy criticism going in today.
Yeah, he didn't get targets like you said without Rome being out there. So again, it starts to make you question, is DJ a good fit here? Like, how does he only get 1 target? Is DJ?
I don't know. I don't want to question if he's a fit. I question the relationship between either him and Caleb or him and Coach Ben Johnson, because we know DJ's capable of making plays down the field. We know that. We've seen that. And that's what I question, whether or not. But when you look at what they paid him, they gave him the extension last year. And, you would think, especially with Rome to being a high draft pick, I can understand you want him to be, to establish the ability to be the number 1 receiver. But with Rome being down, you would think that DJ would be the next guy up.
That was common. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as we want to make it a priority to get him the ball. But this is one thing I want to touch on. Well, a couple things actually. The Bears' ability and Ben Johnson's ability with him having these weapons, Luther Burden, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, Devin Duvernay, who had a big. No, that wasn't Devin Duvernay. That was Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus had a touchdown pass. Uh, but the biggest being Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, um, Luther Burden, DJ Moore. See, this is the thing, and this is why I believe coach is doing so well. You can't focus on one guy in particular. You can focus on the run game, the different ways they, kind of set the run game up, but you never know who the number one guy when they're throwing the ball is. I mean, you never know who that is.
Right.
A lot of times it seemed to be Luther Burden and I think Colston Loveland with that touchdown catch he had down near the goal line. That's what gives Coach Johnson the ability to call plays the way he do because you cannot key in on one guy. Um, the benefit of having Caleb under a rookie contract right now gives them that type of flexibility. Now, when I look around the league, and when you look at Caleb Williams playing quarterback, I'm gonna tell you, man, everybody's criticizing Caleb about his accuracy and his completion percentage, and he's starting to look like a one trick pony to me. That's what I mean when I say this. He's either when he rolls out, he's getting really predictable running out to the right side. And when that happens, of course, when he makes the play, it's spectacular. But it's those throws that is when he cuts the field in half and the other half of the field is wide open. Like, if you he cuts the field in half. And my thing is, what's going to happen? The tendencies are there. Ben Johnson's throwing up layups. He's drawing up the layups, and he's not hitting the layups. He still had a tendency to bail the pocket a little early. Now, don't get me wrong. He had probably one of the best pass rushers chasing him around the field, and I get it. But if all I saw yesterday was now you got the Browns coming up is playing against these tendencies that he have and defense scheming up for it.
I just want the accuracy. I can live with what you call the one trick pony. I mean, he does roll out to the right all the time and does, you know, I think hold the ball a little bit too long in those situations, trying to make the hero throw. I like him to take the check down just a little bit more. Like you said, hit them layups, but I mean that's part of his game. I know that's not gonna go away. Even even with Ben having, this image of how he wants his offense to look, I don't think Ben is that quote unquote bad of a coach to try and take that away, like for something like Stefanski did yesterday. I know we'll talk to the bat in a minute, but I don't see Ben doing something like that just for the sake of his system.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I do see him living with it, but I think more times than not, he's especially early in the season. Probably not so much now because they've been able to stack up wins, and he knows how to settle Caleb down. He settles Caleb down. He settles Caleb Williams down with the run game. That's when he really want. That's when he takes the ball kind of out of his hands when he go to calling the run plays. That's how he settles him down. Years down the line, he's going to have to be better in that pocket. Um, he's just going to have to do it. I mean, the ability to make the spectacular plays are there, but my thing is, once they take away that one trick, then what? Because we've seen it. We've seen it with several quarterbacks, regardless of what it is you do well. Once the league catches up to it, one of two things happen. Either they stop it or they get injured. You either get stopped or you get injured. Lamar Jackson, okay? Russell Wilson. These are guys that had, you know, a habit for the spectacular. And once you took the spectacular away, like Lamar got better in the pocket, but now he's a little banged up and can't do the special anymore. That special sauce he had isn't there anymore. He's more reliant on being a pocket passer than probably he ever was. I mean, we saw that in playoff games. And my question now is with Caleb Williams is because the league will catch up. Even with when you look at Patrick Mahomes, I mean, I believe it's more of a roster issue with the Chiefs because they had to pay Patrick, they paid Jones, and I guess they're paying Kelsey. So, the money's getting thin in KC and the talent. I don't want to question the talent because I don't question the ability to develop talent by Andy Reid and his staff. But there's some things going on in KC that we're just not used to seeing. And when I think about Caleb, I think about 2 years from now where he's going to be playing out the pocket, and then what's going to happen when teams catch up with these tendencies. Because you saw the tendencies before he came out of college: to roll out to the right, throw it across your body. Everybody impressed with the spectacular. It's going to come down to what you do with the layups and the fundamentals, in my opinion.
I mean, you ain't with the book remains to be seen. Like I said, I think I'm cool in saying at least we know who our quarterback finna be for the next decade plus.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just not because you'll know he's the one that has to make the adjustment. We'll know in a year or two what the situation is. To just say that a guy's gonna be there at this, no, I just can't say it, and you can't say it for a lot of guys right now. I mean, this league is changing. The coaching carousel, on being on and off of guys, is just how it changes. And this is why I keep telling you, man, he just reminds me so much of Kyler Murray. I mean, when Kyler Murray was a matchup problem because of his ability to do certain things. Once the league took those things away, he started getting injured. And it's like, hey, man, I mean, I'm just not sold on it. I'm not sold on it right now. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm just not. Because this is his first year in Ben Johnson's offense. I get it. And let's be I mean, clear. The reason why this team is winning, it's a team effort. Caleb is making plays at times. But the stats don't lie. Um, and he's kind of getting away from some habits of some of the hero ball. He looks really good when he does decide to sit in that pocket and just let it rip. And it's going to take more of that and less of the spectacular for him to remain in Chicago. That's just how I feel. Because I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes, and you can play them both the same way. And you got to think that Patrick Mahomes is he's obviously he's a much more experienced quarterback, and he's seen way more than Caleb in NFL. Caleb's progression in that pocket is going to have to be a lot quicker than we think. They're going to have to be a lot quicker than we think. So that's just why I'm not really sold on it right now, because I'm telling you, man, if you see one, if he gets injured and you see another guy go out there and run that offense out the pocket, all these people that's talking about the Iceman, they're not gonna see the spectacular, but they're gonna see the fundamental, and they're gonna continue to ask why he can't do it. So he better get to it.
March 2026.
You know it. You know it.
Anxiously awaiting what you gonna do for
Yeah.
re-opting in.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, right now, I'm not sold on a few things. I like the coach. I like the coaching staff. I like the game plans that he puts forth each week. But and with that being said, I understand. I got a better understanding as a fan with the business of sports behind the scene. What I mean when I say that is when, like I said again, when I found out that the buddy system was at play, it really, really changed the way I look at just professional sports in general. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So, we can wrap up that 21 uh victory by the Packers over the Bears. You know, the Bears got the Browns and then they turn right back around and they get to see the Packers again at Soldier Field, and that game has been flexed. That's a Saturday night game. I believe that's December 20th. You might want to check your schedules. And I think that game's been flexed to 7:20, a 7:20 start on Saturday night.
Yep.
On December 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm gonna give you a chance since since I brought up the Browns and that's who the Bears' next opponent is. Let's jump into there before we get back into the NFC. So let's focus on the Browns and what you saw. I graded the quarterbacks. I gave them both a C plus because they're playing with confidence, not really being afraid to make the mistakes. And we talk about Cam Ward and Shador. I gave them both a C plus when I graded them both because I can just see two young quarterbacks gaining confidence in themselves in those games. Now, the coaches around them, of course, Cam Ward will be getting a new coach, I believe, next season.
I was about to say
And
quarterbacks and dare I say bad organizations.
yeah, and you got to wonder if Stefanski's going to be in Cleveland, even if Shador's going to be in Cleveland next year. But I I I was okay with both of their performances only because they they played they were fearless. They were both fearless on the field. They made plays. They did what came natural, even when it was a mistake made. They just played football, and for that mobility and athleticism, that lack of athleticism, many said that Shador didn't have, or he showed a little bit of it yesterday. He showed a little bit of it yesterday. I don't know. I don't know the future of these two guys. I mean, as far as for Shador being a starter, but he showed the ability to play in the NFL.
Uh, I mean, I was more so. My takeaway was, damn, the Browns defense gave up 31 points.
Yeah,
Because that defense had been hunting. They had been, especially Myles Garrett. He'd been causing havoc for about the last 5-6 weeks, and so for them to give up 31, and I think what's the old boy that used to be in Dallas, Tony Pollard. I think he went for like 165 on the ground, 161 on the ground. So that was my biggest takeaway. And then obviously, the low hanging fruit was how Stefanski managed the two scores at the end of the game. Like, why you score a touchdown? Y'all was down 14. You score a touchdown, then you go for two. And then when you was going for two, I think on the second one, you running from the Wildcat formation, and you take pretty much, arguably, your best player off the field. You take your experienced trigger man, not experienced, but experienced at playing quarterback and making a throw, taking your best throw off the field. I didn't get it. I saw his little excerpt from his press conference where he was trying to explain the call. He didn't really want to touch it because he know that was some BS. So, and I really don't think they gonna fire Stefanski. I think it's more so Shador get traded. So, and I hope Shador can at least get into a situation where at least the coach support him instead of trying to openly sabotage him at every turn.
Well, I don't know. I don't. Okay, now this is the thing with their 2 point conversion. They went for two earlier in that game, and Shador fumbled the snap, I think it was. And then the next time they went for a 2 point conversion, I mean, he wasn't on the field. His stat line was pretty good: 23 for 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. What that tells me is I see it a little different. I see it like this. Stefanski is saying, let me see what this dude got. I'm gonna dial up 42 passes. Let me see what this dude got. Because the one thing you cannot do is you have to humble yourself. And you say, you know what? I may not like the guy, but I'd be damned if I let this guy go somewhere else and make me look bad because I didn't give him an opportunity. 23 for 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, Kevin Stefanski has something to think about going forward. When you look at that stat line, that was the introduction to the opening up the playbook for Shador, building around Shador. Anytime you get an opportunity to throw the ball 42 times, those are opportunities. Those are opportunities. Now you can question the call to take him out on the 2 point conversion. I'll give it to you. But this is my thing. If they had to redraft, Shador would be the guy that they take in the third round. It wouldn't have been Dylan Gabriel. I think they know that now. I think they know that now because I think Shador comes with a certain amount of fear. He's coming with confidence. He's fearless. And when he took out when he started scrambling around, they let me know he feeling pretty good about himself. He done took a hit big enough to the point where he's willing to take enough. He's willing to put it on the line for his team. So the one thing I believe the Browns would admit today, well, maybe not, depending on who you ask, that they would take Shador ahead of Dylan Gabriel if they had to do it all over again. And they could have took Shador in the second or third round and had another weapon on offense or defense or somewhere else because maybe they didn't need to draft two quarterbacks in the first damn place. I think that's would be the conclusion they would come to right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not so big of a Shador fan to the point where I just got this, this conspiracy thing going on because I know why it happened. I understand why it happened. I believe that had Dion just made the statement once or twice that he didn't want him to play with certain teams, once or twice. You cannot go on talk shows and make it a campaign. Once he made it a campaign, that's when I believe Shador started to drop. But after seeing Shador yesterday in the draft status, after seeing Shador yesterday, if Kevin Stefanski, if his opinion of Shador didn't change, you better believe there's coaches and scouts around the league that seen something yesterday in Shador Sanders. So if he does not pan out in Cleveland, he will get an opportunity elsewhere. And I'm gonna go out on a limb. I would take Shador over Caleb Williams right now. This is why I say this. Because Shador, not as talented, but he's willing to sit in the pocket. And it doesn't take the spectacular. It just takes the layup. And I think Shador's willing to take the layup. That's the only reason why. Shador's willing to take the layup.
I'm not even gonna touch that one, ladies and gentlemen. Just go ahead.
He ain't as talented, but damn, if it, how long is it gonna take you to take the layup? Shador's figured it out in 2 or 3 weeks. Am I correct?
Yeah, but
Shador will take the layup. He's figured this out in 2 or 3 weeks.
no, we can't do
I
that.
didn't say he's more talented.
I know, but
I said he's willing to do. He's not looking for the hero. I'm telling you, man. That's just how I feel.
hey, like I said, March 26th, just go ahead. I ain't even gonna touch that. I'm gonna keep us on on track.
Big guy Michael Thompson, what's going on, baby? Yeah. Because what Ben is asking his quarterback to do is get it to my playmakers. That's what Shador's doing. I mean, he hit Junkins. Was that Junkins he hit with that pass? That little bubble pop screen pass, and Junkins almost took it to the house.
Yeah, and then he hit Judy on the deep one.
And then once they started to creep up, and then Shador starts seeing the stuff open up in the middle, he's stepping up in the pocket and he's letting it rip. Not more talented.
I know what you're saying, but no,
Maybe a little bit more coachable. Not as emotional either. From a standpoint of on-field emotion. He's most definitely going to express himself a little different at the press conference. But I'm just telling you. See, you looking at the Mahomes of it. I don't need Mahomes. I don't need Mahomes. I don't need Mahomes. I don't need Mahomes. See, that's what the problem is. Everybody expect with this. Look, and then you wonder with this accuracy. He's more accurate. Caleb, he's more accurate when he's throwing on the move, and then when he's in the pocket, he can't hit the layup. There's a reason for that. I just don't think he sees the feel well out of the pocket. And he has a great pocket presence, but he's not willing to stand in that thing and let it go. And that takes a certain level of toughness. And I mean, I can't blame him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably wouldn't stand in there either and do that. I probably do all that stuff too and get the hell out of it if I could. But I'm just saying, we need a guy that's gonna make the layups. That's just it. And that's just my conclusion. Now, those two guys will have an opportunity to go head to head next week. If you're looking at it from a baseball perspective, fine. Okay, because that's how they sell it to us. They want us to think we're looking at two pitchers going up against two liners. But see, even baseball has changed because back in the day, even the two pitchers would pitch to each other. Okay, but now since you got the designated hitters, that's gone. Shador will not face off with Caleb. They will just be trying to beat each other's defenses next week at Soldier Field. And I think that's high noon. I'm about wrapped up on that. Myles Garrett is coming to town, and we'll see. Cleveland has a decent defense. I don't know if they'll be any much tougher than Green Bay was at Lambeau. I have yet to see. Hell, they gave up 31 points to the Titans, so I'm not gonna say they about to come in here and do anything special with the Bears. I haven't picked the Bears to win a game outside of that game one, because I've kind of stayed away from picking games. But I'm going to pick the Bears to beat the Browns. That's the second game I picked all season. I just think that I don't know if Cleveland's trying to win football games right now, outside of Shador trying to prove that he can play quarterback.
Yeah. Huh? You nailed it there. I don't know if Cleveland is trying to win football games.
Yeah. Shador's trying to win. Shador trying to be a QB, but I don't know if they're trying to win football games. I mean, yes, that's just how I see it. Two other games in the North we can touch on because on Thursday night, week 14, Thursday night, it was Dallas and Dallas. I think they went to Detroit and they played the Lions.
Yeah.
And the Lions, both teams are in the same situation. Dallas went in. Of course, they had that one tie with Green Bay, so they went in needing to win. And Detroit went in, you know, trying to stay in the hunt for that wild card. And 44-30 was the final score of that game. The Lions took care of business, and they advanced they advanced to 8-5. Dallas is sitting at 6-6-1. They might not be all the way out. I think was thinking they could. Dallas thinking they could still come back and win the NFC East, I believe. And I believe that's Dallas's only hope to make the playoffs. But both teams came in with desperately needing to win. Um, the Lions got it 44-30. Right now, as we speak, as I talked about the Cowboys trying to overtake the Eagles. I think at this point, the Eagles are down 10-6 as we speak on Monday Night Football. They're taking on the Chargers in LA. So they're down 10-6. I believe that game is either just coming out of halftime or yeah, I believe it is. I think it's just coming out of they just about to kick off the third quarter with that game. 10-6 Chargers over the Eagles. Um Unless you got some more to talk about with Dallas and the Lions. The reason why I'm touching on that game because it's an NFC North game and the Lions being in the hunt to try and get that wild card or stay in the hunt for a wild card opportunity. That's the reason why I want to talk about that game in particular. I'm not really gonna get into the stats for it, but unless you got something else to throw on that game, I'm gonna step into Minnesota and Washington. What you got?
Nothing on that one. I ain't really too concerned about the Lions. Like I told you a couple weeks ago with Dan Campbell taking over play calling duty. I think it's some cracks in the armor there. So we got to, and when I say we, I'm talking about the Bears. We got this little stretch where we got Green Bay twice in 3 weeks. So that's where the focus is. I don't think they need to worry about Detroit because I think Detroit just kind of gonna play themselves out.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because let me ask you this question: would you want to play Detroit in the first round of the wild card or the first game of the playoffs?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
remember you said that now
yeah. I,
because Detroit, even with the game against Dallas, they played with a. Don't get me wrong, everyone questioning the play calling of Dan Campbell. But my thing with that it's still new and unpredictable. You don't know what you're gonna get.
yeah,
You
but I
know,
know I've seen Jared Goff, and when he goes outside,
yeah. That's the thing I question. I
that's what
don't question Dan Campbell. I question Jared Goff's ability to play outdoors, like you said. I'm glad you brought that up. I do question that.
yeah, he didn't look good. I think that was Philly they played, and he was very ungood that night.
Yeah, he went out there with a big ass glove with that big ass glove on, trying to play quarterback. Um. So Minnesota kind of had a get right game matchup of two other 2024 quarterbacks that were drafted, Jaden Daniels and JJ McCarthy. Both of these guys have been injury prone this season, but the Vikings get right 31-0 over the Commanders. The Vikings are pretty much out. They're just trying to figure out what they got in JJ McCarthy. And I don't know what the hell the Commanders are marching Jaden Daniels out there for. They need to be they probably need to be playing a little bit more for a better draft status and give him a break because he did go down in this game. I think he had that really bad dislocated
Elbow.
elbow a few weeks ago, and he came back in this game, and he threw a really bad pick in this game. He looked reluctant to, not take shots on that elbow, on that arm. I mean, but as far as his ability to play the position, he did pretty good. But he had a turnover. He had a pick. He was 9 of 20 for 78 yards and an interception. After he threw that interception, he went out to try and defend and try to slow the returner down on on the interception. I forget who it was, and he took a real big block. He went to the ground and landed right on that elbow, and he didn't return. So Marcus Mariota came out and finished the game. As I said, Minnesota win 31-0. They beat the Washington Commanders. The thing about J.J. McCarthy, he went 16 of 23 for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this was the game that I gave Kevin O'Connell, although it was the Washington Commanders. I questioned Kevin O'Connell's ability to scheme around J.J. McCarthy. And in this particular game, he did a pretty good job as they rushed 34 times for 162 yards. That's all. That's more like what J.J. McCarthy needs behind him. 16 of 23, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. That looks just like a Michigan stat line for J.J. McCarthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the game plan for J.J. McCarthy. Get the running game going. Be heavy on the run. Get him comfortable. And he even scooted a little bit for a few times. I think he rushed the time. He rushed six. He had 6 scrambles for 19 yards. Not a whole lot to write home about, but that showed me that he had the ability, that he was comfortable with what was going on around him, and he was willing to fight for the extra yard when he had the opportunity. That's what it's going to take for a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy. Although it was against the Washington Commanders, that's a successful game plan for a young J.J. McCarthy. And that's one of the first games that I've seen where Kevin O'Connell really supported him and made an attempt to run the football.
Just keep an eye on Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson only had 2 catches for 11 yards.
I get it. I get it. But what I also got from that win was Justin Jefferson was satisfied winning the football game. And I think he knows he sacrificed this season for his quarterback. He probably would rather have Sam Darnold. But I think the win yesterday, I watched a little bit of that game. I think the win yesterday was good enough because when they did throw him the ball, he had a big first down complete, a big first down conversion where he really fought for the extra yards to get that first down, and he was pumped up. Now, 4 catches for 62 yards. He didn't have a touchdown. Well, no, that's Jordan Addison. Who am I looking at?
Yeah, he had 2 catches for 11 yards.
2 catches for 11 yards. Well, I give you that, but I think he was. I mean, winning that game probably settled him down a little bit. But going forward, I do think that he would like to develop a chemistry with J.J. McCarthy, um, uh, and I believe that game in particular, it appeared to be Jordan Addison that had the chemistry with J.J. McCarthy for 4 receptions for 62 yards. He didn't have a touchdown, but like I said again, I was impressed with Kevin O'Connell's ability to just have a power run game because Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason ain't nothing. I'm two pretty good backs. You're getting them both healthy. I take them. I take them guys any day. Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. I take them guys any day to run out of my backfield with a young quarterback. So I was satisfied with Kevin O'Connell's ability to plan around and scheme around uh, J.J. McCarthy against the Commanders. Although it was the Commanders. Commanders go to 3-10. The question with them is, will we see Jaden Daniels a whole lot more going into the rest of the season? Uh, uh, the development of J.J. McCarthy continues to be an issue in Minnesota as they go to 5-8. So uh, that gets us out of the NFC North, of course, covering the Bears and Packers, Lions and Dallas, and then the Vikings and Commanders. Um, Big games of interest. Um, Seahawks took care of the Falcons and stop me because I'm about to just make a roll on. 'Em. If you feel any type of way about any of these games, make sure you stop me because we're gonna be wrapping up soon. Uh, um, the Seahawks took care of the Falcons 37-9. Bengals and Bills. You kind of wonder what the deal is with Joe Burrow. Um, why is he playing right now? It's another thing I know. You probably just want to see the product on the field, but
And
he
that
was
was a
too.
lot of points. That game, it was like a
Yeah,
blizzard, not a blizzard, but it was snowing all game. And to give up, I mean, both of them teams going over 30 in that type of weather, that was a hell of a lot of points. And it wasn't like it was just, they was working on short fields and nothing like that.
yeah,
They was putting drives together. So
yeah,
I was surprised to see that in that type of weather.
yeah. And the Bengals dominated this game early,
Yeah.
being up to halftime, and then the Bills end up coming out on top 39-34. Um, Like I said, winning is contagious, losing is contagious, and I think that was the case in this game. The winning team came out on top, the team with the winning record and more momentum and the ability to know how to win a football game. That was the team that came out on top in this game. Joe Burrow had a really good game. I mean, say 25 or 36, 284 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's pretty good for him, considering how much time he's missed. But yet still he got the loss 39-34 Bills over the Bengals. We talked about Titans beating the Browns. Dolphins get a win over the Jets. Um, the Jets had a chance to see what is it, his kid Brady Cook,
Yeah.
14 to 30, 163 yards and 2 interceptions. So he was introduced to the NFL. Dolphins get the win 34-10 over the Jets. Um, Saints with a big upset over the Buccaneers. That game was kind of tight, back and forth. But the Saints get a win over the Buccaneers, 24-20. Um, the Colts are starting to go downward right now, hitting not playing particularly as well as they were playing the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. They go down to the Jaguars 36-19. I believe Daniel Jones went down in that game.
Yeah.
Uh,
ACL, I think.
yeah, so you have to keep the look on. He may be out. Yeah, you can say he might be out for the season. That may change the fortunes altogether for the Indianapolis Colts. At one point in time, people were saying it was the best team in football, definitely the best team in the AFC based on their record. But things have really changed for that team after they went to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh kind of exposed them, and it's really changed since that game. Speaking of Pittsburgh, they beat the Ravens 27-22. This game in particular, I saw two teams consistently that make the playoffs, but I didn't see two teams. I didn't see either team being able to say one of these teams will be good enough to win a playoff game this season. This game was a matchup of two teams that's really struggling right now. Aaron Rodgers, 23 of 34, 284 yards and a touchdown. Um, Lamar Jackson, let me look at see what he did in this game because he's the one I'm a little bit more skeptical about. We know Aaron Rodgers at in an advanced age. We don't expect much from him. But Lamar Jackson still in his prime, 19 of 35, 219 yards, 1 interception, 1 touchdown. Let's look at what he rushed for. What did he rush for? 7 times. Yeah, seven. Okay, he rushed for a touchdown. He had 7 carries for 43 yards, but it wasn't enough to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that game was in Baltimore. So, like I say again, these two teams Neither one of them really look like they're gonna win a playoff game, but they're battling for their division, and they have another game in Pittsburgh later on this season. So, um, Broncos over the Raiders, 24-17. Rams put it on the Cardinals, 45-17. Um, the nightcap of Sunday was the Texans and Chiefs. And hey, man, this is unfamiliar territory for the Chiefs. We knew they were going up against probably the best defense in the NFL, but hey, we haven't seen the Chiefs in this situation.
And they guys didn't make plays last night.
Yeah,
Rice missed a crucial fourth down reception. Kelsey let one pretty much he should have caught it. He pretty much gift wrapped it to the defender with the game on the line. Pat Mahomes, I know he's a little banged up, but he didn't have the game that we kind of expect for him in this type of spot. Um, you know what? It put me in the mindset because I want to see the Chiefs make the playoffs, but it reminds me of when Mike Jordan was on the Wizards. I wanted to see him make the playoffs, but I knew he wasn't going to win nothing once he got there.
yeah,
It's better if he's in it. So that's how I
yeah.
feel about the Chiefs, but it don't look like it's going to work out this year.
Patrick Mahomes, number 14 of 33, 160 yards, no touchdowns, and three interceptions. Three interceptions for Patrick Mahomes.
Two of them was the receiver's fault, Rashid and Kelsey.
Like I said, three interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. Because if there was Caleb Williams, I'd be on his ass. So I'm telling you, it's three interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. Because if there was Caleb Williams, it'd be three interceptions for Caleb Williams. I don't give a damn how it happened. It happened. Caleb Williams would have had it. I'd have been in his ass. Patrick Mahomes, 14 for 33, 160 yards, no touchdowns, three interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. Did you hear that? I'm going to say it again. Three interceptions for the great Patrick Mahomes. CJ Stroud, 15 to 31, 203 yards, one touchdown. It's about the defense. That defense, the Texans defense is for real. The Texans advanced to 8-5, and the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know how long their streak of being AFC West champs is, but it is officially over. The Denver Broncos and the Chargers. I think the Broncos gonna pretty much wrap that division up in the AFC West. And I think when we made our predictions earlier this year, we both of us did we both pick the Chiefs? Because you just don't pick against the Chiefs,
Yeah. Until
you
they
know. Yeah, until it's actually been done that they've been beat.
did pick the Steelers in the AFC North though.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to think. I think I picked Baltimore in the AFC North. So you still alive in the AFC North. So
Yeah.
I don't know too much about Baltimore. I picked Baltimore to win the damn Super Bowl. So there you go. Um, so like I said, those were the stat lines. Um, we could close up with some college football. We getting ready. We got the college football playoff. The bracket is set up. And I know your Wolverines are not in it, but I don't know if you. It's some interesting storylines with this because Notre Dame didn't get in, and then Notre Dame has leaded the pack of college football teams deciding not to take bowl bids. So, with that being said, before I get to breaking down the brackets for this college football playoffs, how I think they're trying to force Notre Dame to join a conference now
Yeah.
because had Notre Dame had they're in the ACC in basketball, I think it's and they lost to Miami. Don't get me wrong, their open game of the season, and Miami did get in the playoff by the way. But
They
at Miami, had Notre Dame been an ACC tournament participant, you would probably think they would have won the ACC and they'd be in the conference in the college football playoffs.
but they not in the ACC in football. So I mean, and head-to-head results need to matter. Uh,
Yes.
I think Miami had lost 3 games, right? Three.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Let me look.
I think Miami and Bama had 3 losses, and they both got in.
Yeah, okay.
Notre Dame had 2 losses, but
Matter of fact, the two teams that Notre Dame lost to, I think they lost to Texas A&M
yeah,
and they lost to Miami.
yep,
And I believe that those two teams both made the college football playoff.
you are correct.
So now that I look at that, I agree even more with with Notre Dame not making it because it makes sense now.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
makes real good sense to me now.
yeah. Notre Dame wasn't supposed to be in there. Like I said, I like the fact that they got kind of screwed for not being in the conference. Like nobody's bigger than the program, baby. Nobody's bigger than the program. So
Definitely ain't bigger than football.
yeah, so I'm okay with that, and I also like that they are leading the way to decline the bowl bid because these bowl games outside of the college football playoff essentially don't mean anything anymore. If you watch these games on TV, I think ratings are low. The attendance at these games are they're not at capacity whatsoever. I'm sure these bowls aren't making the amount of money, the profit that they used to for sure. I'm sure you can find some of them that might actually lose money from putting on the bowl and all that they have to do leading up to the bowl game that week. So I think we should just be going to do away with it. I mean, what's the purpose of, you know, especially we see NFL talent coming from a wide variety of places. So if I go somewhere like, I don't know, let's just say who's somebody that was in the top 25. I don't know, just take USC. USC is in the top 25.
Hmm.
Why am I going to play in this meaningless bowl game? Like, so let's just do away with that. It's the minor leagues for the NFL now. It is what it is. Just go ahead and get a salary cap, and so we can kind of even that thing out. And it's okay. It evolved into something else. This is no longer your granddaddy's college football no more. It's no longer the winner of the Big Ten goes to play the winner of the Pac-12 or the Pac-10. That's over with in the Rose
Hmm.
Bowl. It's over with.
Yeah,
So adjust.
yeah, yeah. Especially when you think that the NCAA, they're trying to get the same type of uh, enthusiasm for the college football playoffs that we have for the college basketball NCAA tournament, and you want to, kind of get. They probably want to get that type of appeal, even though I don't think it's going to be that hard to get people to watch college football, especially when you're trying to get to a national championship. And I also think that the field will probably increase over years, and I'm in favor of that as well. I mean, how many teams? I think right now we're at 12. I think we may go to 16 in the next few years. But I would like to see Notre Dame in a conference at some point in time, and then they can take care of all of this can be taken care of on the football field in both. When you talk about the powerful Notre Dame tradition, independent, being able to not just get into these bowl games because of their following and their tradition, but actually because of what they did on the field. And when I look at Texas A&M and Miami squaring off, it makes perfect sense because both of those teams did beat Notre Dame.
Listen, I think they got too many teams. I'd like to see it be 10 teams. I think it's giving 4 teams a bye because them top 4 seeds are not all created equal. Like you telling me Indiana, who was 13-0, should get the same advantage that the 4th seed get. That ain't right. It should be the top 2 teams get a bye. We got 10 teams in the playoff, and then we shake it out from there. But like you said, they're going to expand it. Uh,
Yeah,
but you can't. I mean, I would hate to see it be more teams than would make the NFL playoffs.
you got a point there. I don't know, over the course of okay, so the NCAA tournament is about 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
4. It's
Four,
the
three, four
round,
weeks.
quarterfinals, semifinals, national
Okay.
championship.
So with that being said, you probably don't want to get past a 3 week tournament, a playoff system for college football as well. That's something to think about because over the course of time, with these teams playing games every 7 days, you probably don't want your audience to lose interest. So you got a good point there too. That's my first time really thinking about it that way.
And let's take
But
out the conference championship games while we at it too.
I mean that's something to think about. I hadn't really thought about that, but the number of games and how long it takes to actually play the playoff system out matters because you want to keep your audience engaged, and you definitely don't want to compete with the NFL's playoff system, and by expanding that playoff, you don't want to get to the point where you're you know competing with
They did
wild
that
card
last year,
games and
remember?
stuff like that.
I think
See,
I think they did that last year. We had college football playoffs, and I think we had when the wild card, super wild card, was on the same day, or it was an NFL game or something that happened on that day, and
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I
yeah,
can't remember who played who.
yeah,
But that's not. I mean, when you get close to the national championship, semis and national championship,
you can't help that. Yeah,
yeah, people. I think the people like us, we're going. I mean, you may not watch it, but I'm gonna watch it. Uh, but the number of games and the length of time in which it takes you to get from, your quarterfinals to your finals, it really matters when you talk about not clashing with the NFL playoffs as well. I'm gonna give you a rundown of those games real quick on December. Let's see.
19th, I think.
Yeah, December 19th. December 19th, you have Alabama at Oklahoma. These two teams, I think this will be the second time they matched up this season. I think that's a home game. That's December 19th, 7 p.m. start. Alabama at Oklahoma. Winner of that game gets to go to Indiana and play the Hoosiers, the number one seed. On December 20th, James Madison, one of the more controversial teams in this playoff, they go to Oregon on December 20th, and they'll be playing the Oregon Ducks. They get to Texas Tech. Texas Tech with the number 4. See, they have a battle. They'll be getting the winner of that game between James Madison and Oregon. Um, Tulane and Ole Miss also on December 20th. These two teams matched up this season. Ole Miss is my team on NCAA football 26. And these two teams matched up earlier this season. I think Ole Miss beat them 45-10. Of course, Lane Kiffin will not be coaching them this game. So Ole Miss going into it with a different coach. I think the defensive coordinator has been named head coach. Can't remember what his name was, but Ole Miss, Tulane match up, and then they match up. They go to play Georgia. Ole Miss has lost to Georgia this season. I believe that's their only loss of the season. But if Ole Miss can get past Tulane again, they'll go play Georgia and the two teams we talked about a little bit, Miami and Texas A&M, the two teams that beat Notre Dame. They match up on December 20th, and they go against the Ohio State Buckeyes, which, and we can close it here. We know what's going on. We know what the college football playoff is. We know what the deal is with that. We just talked about the games. Let's talk about the game, the Big Ten championship that only had the number 1 and 2 teams in the country. Well, all they did for the college playoffs was swap spots. But before about a week or so, they're going to be talking about the national, not the national, but the Heisman Trophy winner and who you think that should be. Because when I watched Ohio State and Indiana, that was more of a defensive battle more than anything else. Hoosiers shocked the world and they beat the Ohio State Buckeyes,
I don't
13
think
to
it's the
10.
world. I really don't.
Just the thing. The only reason why is because 3 years ago, you would have never saw this coming. You would have never said the Indiana Hoosiers would be the number one ranked team in college football. You would have not said that. And people are still wrapping their minds around it. And people probably still don't believe it. And for Indiana, they did it in Michigan form. They did it much like Michigan would have done it in years past. They were very physical at Ohio State, and they beat them 13 to 10. The last time the Ohio State Buckeyes lost the game to the Michigan Wolverines, what was the final score?
13 to 10.
I rest my case. Now the Indiana Hoosiers, people people still probably don't believe that they're number one team in the country. Now they get a chance to do it in the tournament, do it in the playoffs. I think last year they were knocked out by Notre Dame. Notre Dame's name keep coming up synonymous with these teams. You talk about knocking out Indiana last year, getting beat by Miami and Texas A&M this year, but the Hoosiers get a chance to prove that they're the best in college football in America. And like I say again, if that happens, Robert Montgomery Knight, may he rest in peace. He will be proud of these Hoosiers.
I ain't got nothing to add on that one. You ended on a Bobby Knight reference, so we gotta just let it. We gotta just let it wrap up after that.
All right, hey, real quick. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna give you some matchups for the NFL next week. So week 15. Let's see here. We can wrap this up. Just so everybody know what's going on in the league. Okay, so Thursday night, the matchup is Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Of course, Cleveland comes to Chicago. Baltimore at Cincinnati. The Chargers go to KC, and it will probably be the question there is, will they just knock Kansas City completely out of the playoffs? Buffalo at New England. That's a pretty good matchup. Pretty good matchup. I think that's the AFC East. Pretty good matchup. Washington at the New York Jets. Las Vegas Raiders going on to take on the Eagles. Right now, the Eagles are down to the Chargers 13 to 9. About to wrap up the third quarter. The New York Jets go into Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Will Brady Cook start that game? That's the question in that game. Arizona going into Houston. Houston trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Green Bay, after they just beat the Bears, they have a tough task. And this is a good matchup if you're thinking about the Bears and Packers on that week after that, because the Packers got to go to Denver and match up with a physical, good defensive Denver Bronco team. So if you're a Bear fan, that's a good matchup. You want to keep an eye on how the Packers come out of that game. 3:25 start. I have my eyes on that. Green Bay and Denver. Detroit at the Rams. Detroit still playing for playoff. They need that one. That's another big game. That's another 3:25, 4:25 start. Two big games in that time slot, just right there alone in the NFC North. So if you're a Bears fan, you want to keep your eyes on them two games. So we got Detroit at the Rams, Carolina at New Orleans, Tennessee at San Francisco, Indianapolis go into Seattle, as they're struggling, but they got probably what a lot of teams would consider the best team, one of the best teams. Well, you can talk about the Rams being one of the best teams in the NFC right now. But Seattle Seahawks, Colts in Seattle, that's a 3:25 start. Sunday Night Football, Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy, they go to Dallas and take on the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas might be still trying to win their division, so that might be a big game for Dallas. And the Monday night game, not a whole lot to talk about, but Pittsburgh needs it. The Miami Dolphins going to Pittsburgh Monday night, and they got a 7:15 start on ESPN. So the Steelers need that game. Bears, Browns. How many? All these, Shador fans go across all the league. They go across the league. My question for the Bear fans. Shout out to my man, to Keon Frazier and Willie Frazier. They're going to be watching their game. I'm pretty sure they're going to have something going down at Rollo's in EC. How many fans at Rollo's going to have on their number 12 jerseys? How many Chicago Bear fans? You're a diehard Bear fan, but you support Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of those. How many 12 jerseys going to be at Soldier Field? What's the ticket price at Soldier Field? Let's see.
I think
and we can wrap up.
You think?
The lowest ticket price for $171, you can go and watch the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders take on the Chicago Bears.
And
thanks for watching. What you got, Pen?
I said, and Caleb Williams.
And Caleb Williams. And let's see if Caleb can get it down out the pocket. Now, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for watching. The Eagles just crossed the goal line. So, as we speak, I think they just... What's the score in that game? I ain't got the score up right now, but I just seen Saquon go over the goal line. Let's see what we got here. We can wrap this up. Let's see this 16-13 Cowboys. 14:51 left in the fourth quarter. Thanks for watching the game. Like, share, subscribe. Peace out.